Key Republicans, as Kelly has been reporting on the Senate Armed Services Committee, are also calling for a broader investigation into the attack on Benghazi and vowing to block UN Ambassador Susan Rice from becoming Secretary of State if she should be nominated because of her initial comments about that fatal incident. The president angrily defended his ambassador.
Let me say specifically about Susan Rice. She has done exemplary work. She has represented the United States and our interests in the United Nations with skill and professionalism and toughness and grace. If Senator McCain and Senator Graham and others want to go after somebody, they should go after me.
Republican Senator from New Hampshire, Kelly Ayotte, who serves on the Armed Services Committee, joins me now. And I think, Senator, you put in a resolution proposing an expanded probe, a joint probe of the Benghazi attack. Why do you think it's needed, rather than having the individual committees proceed?
I think it's really important that we don't have a stovepipe investigation of what happened, because there are multiple committees that have jurisdiction over this. For example, the Intelligence Committee is meeting, focusing on the CIA component. We know that the Foreign Relations Committee has been focusing on the State Department component. There's questions raised for armed services, including during a 7-hour attack. Why couldn't our military respond to help them there? And then Homeland Security has jurisdiction. So I think it's really important that we have a full investigation, that we not have a piecemeal approach. We've already seen it kind of happening going forward. And then we get a full accounting of what occurred, take the best recommendations, make sure it doesn't happen again, and learn the lessons from it. And so that's why we've called for the establishment of a select committee. It would be bipartisan, and in fact, the Democrats are in charge of the Senate, so it would be a component of the members of those committees. And obviously, the Democrats would be in charge of the committee, but then we have a process that the American people can have confidence in, that we've gotten all the information.
Now, you were with Senators McCain and Graham, I believe, yesterday when they sort of drew a line in the sand about Susan Rice, and the president reacted very angrily to that. Shouldn't the president have his prerogatives about whom he nominates for cabinet choices, and that person have a fair review based on their entire record, not one day, one morning television about Benghazi?
Well, Andrea, there's some serious questions that have to be answered if she's nominated to serve at such an important position as Secretary of State. She went 5 days on, after the attack, 5 days later on every major news network. The president even said yesterday, and said it was a spontaneous reaction to the video. We know that that's not the case. That's not what the facts bore out. And in fact, within hours, there was emails sent to the White House saying that Ansar al-Sharia, a terrorist group, had claimed responsibility for it. So I think those are incredibly important questions that need to be answered. And I think that her nomination should be held until those questions are answered as to why she would do that on every major news network. And I also raised the question based on the president's news conference. He said she didn't have anything to do with Benghazi. Then why would she or the administration send her on every major news network to put out a certain narration of what happened when it wasn't the case? I think those questions need to be answered, and they're fair questions.
If she was basing it on a CIA assessment that she was given, their talking points, why not go after the intelligence community rather than the communicators?
Well, we have so many questions that need to be answered. We don't know what I mean, I know that we're saying the president said it was based on intelligence briefings, but there have been more questions raised. First of all, I think that when you have a position like the UN ambassador, in that position, why didn't she ask, how come the Secretary of State or the CIA director or the Department of Defense secretary aren't the ones going on the television show? You know, I think that's a fair question when she wasn't the one directly involved in Benghazi. So there were questions and information that was already available that I think asking those questions, she should have undertaken that responsibility. And especially if she wants to serve as Secretary of State, we have to be able to trust what she will tell us. So my view on it is that those questions should be answered. And I think that her testimony, of course, if she is nominated, should be had on those issues, and then we'll judge her answers.
One of the issues today also that a lot of people are talking about, and a lot of Republicans, is what Mitt Romney said in part to campaign contributors sometime in the last 10 days since the election. Are you comfortable with the way he explained his defeat by talking about people like students who take student loan breaks and others, and women who get help for contraception? Did he seem to be blaming the voters again?
Andrea, I listened to the comments. I don't know what the context fully was. I don't agree with the comments. I think the campaign is over, and what the voters are looking for us to do is to accept their votes and then go forward. And we've got some big challenges that need to be resolved, as you know.
So you're not comfortable with what you heard him say?
Now, I don't know the full context of them, but I don't agree with the comments. And my view is the campaign is over. And the voters have spoken, and they want us to work together to solve our problems.
Thanks very much, Senator. Appreciate you coming on today.
Thanks, Andrea.
And coming up next, fighting intensifies in the Middle East. We have reporters on the ground in Tel Aviv and Gaza. And later, Israel's ambassador to the United States, Michael Oren, joins us.